So, as a forward-thinking, progressive team that we are here at Primal Cure, we were very interested in CBD oil, which is, of course, getting a lot of media attention, a lot of attention overall in the outside world. Now, there has been a lot of controversy, just as there's been loads and loads of testimonials of people that have reaped the benefits of what is known as CBD oil, which is why we wanted to do a show and showcase 3 different versions of CBD bottles that you can get, and ask the questions that we believe you'd want asked and answered at home. So that is why I'm joined here today with the founders of Pro-Life CBD, both Cherry and Toby. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. Please, can you tell us about yourselves and how you found CBD?
Absolutely, thank you so much for having us here. It's an absolute privilege to be on Primal Cure talking about Pro-Life CBD. I'm Cherry Cavill, this is Toby Cavill, we are brother and sister, and we have had the most amazing experience with CBD. It's a very long story, but it goes back to our unfortunate health.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 7 years ago I was diagnosed with epilepsy. Last year, type 1 diabetes. It's going well.
Wow.
And unfortunately, Toby last year with cancer. And we've heard about CBD, as you just mentioned. I mean, there's so much hype around CBD. And we started using this late last year, or middle of last year, and it has changed our lives, and we decided actually this is something that we really want to dedicate our time to.
It kind of sounds like CBD actually found you, rather than you found CBD, the other way round. So epilepsy, diabetes as well. That's, yeah. Okay.
So I was told many years ago now that to try CBD as alternative medicine to my epilepsy.
But you refused initially?
Initially, because I trust medicine. We all do, I think. I mean, medicine saved my life on more than one occasion. It's an incredible thing. And there wasn't as much research as there is now.
Okay.
However, Toby getting cancer last year really changed everything. I mean, it's a big thing, right? We wanted to really investigate it further then. And so, I'm speaking on your behalf here, but your first experience with CBD oil wasn't the best, was it?
No, it certainly wasn't. At the time, as you said, Poppy, I think CBD certainly found us. And at the time of being diagnosed with cancer, I immediately kind of went into a panic mode of, okay, well, what can I do to help my situation? And was referred to a CBD company through a friend of a friend. And after taking it for a couple of weeks, actually found out that it wasn't actually the quality in which it was telling me it was on the front of the bottle. And that immediately kind of angered me as a cancer patient, as someone who was trying to help myself.
You've not got enough going on as it is, and you're trying to find something that could potentially help you. And there you are being sort of, would you say misinformed? Yeah, missold. Yeah.
Taking advantage of it, definitely. So that caused me to then go into a kind of a research frenzy of actually looking in the UK to find myself with a CBD oil that actually delivered what it promised. And after we researched for maybe 2 weeks and really got nowhere in the UK, we were actually forced then to go to America, and that's really where everything kind of began.
Yeah. It's important to say, I think, that CBD is everywhere in the UK, and there are some fabulous companies that are working with CBD. However, we really struggled to find the strength and the quality that we needed. So for epilepsy, these are serious conditions: epilepsy, diabetes, cancer. These are all things that we hear about, unfortunately, too much.
Yeah, well, quite right. It's something we talk about a great deal here at Primal. I mean, the stats of all of those, how they've risen over the years, is actually shocking. How fast, the numbers have gone up.
And that's the thing. It's to do with, we all know, it's our lifestyle, stress, diet, lack of exercise, all these things that can cause us to be unwell. And the great thing about CBD, as we've discovered more and more as we've researched, is that it can help with so many things. But the reason why we are here as Pro-Life CBD is because, as Toby touched on, it's very difficult to find that perfect product that you're looking for. I want to know what's in there, how many milligrams, what percentage it is, where my product has come from. And this led us, as Toby said, to America.
Yes.
So after all this research, we ended up trusting a company that was all the way over in America because they were so transparent with what they were bringing.
Fantastic.
And so we are here basically with the same thing. We wanted to provide the UK customers. I mean, there's thousands, millions of people that are either taking it or want to be taking CBD. And so we wanted to bring a product to the UK market that was absolutely top quality. I mean, we will take it for the rest of our lives.
Definitely.
And it's for a serious condition.
So just to touch upon this, so quality is obviously important. What about the extraction? Are there different extraction methods? Are there ways in which you can get it that could cause?
I mean, the hard, when we were doing our research, there was so much conflicting information. That was where we really struggled, is we couldn't really find a straight answer of exactly what we were getting when we were looking all over the place. And that's also one of the reasons we chose Colorado, is because they really made it very simple for us and made it very simple to understand.
It's what we want. It's what we want. We want simplicity. We want to understand.
But alongside that, as you said, one of the amazing things about the source in which we found is that they actually have been growing hemp or CBD medicinally now for a very long time, and the hemp in which they use is only ever grown for the purpose of CBD. Whereas other places can use hemp for the likes of textiles, for the likes of many different things out there, these guys really just focus on the medicinal side of things. But what's also amazing about them is it is 100% natural. Wow. Obviously the hemp has not been genetically modified. It is grown in biosoil. It has no fertilizers that are added to it. It is as Mother Nature intended it.
Okay.
And following that, the extraction process, which you asked about, Poppy, is again used with only CO2. We only use a CO2 extraction, carbon dioxide extraction. And as we know, carbon dioxide is very naturally found around us. So that was very important to us, that you could have a product in which Mother Nature intended us to have.
Okay, so all brilliant information, and it's great to know, you know, the scientific background to how it works and the extraction method. So I know nothing about it. I want to know what is CBD? What is CBD oil? How does it work? Give me the basics, an understanding of what this is.
Great. It's so much to talk about.
Okay.
We could go around the mill all day. But exactly, that's a good question. What is CBD? CBD is a compound. It's actually a cannabinoid, but easier explained as a compound.
So what's natural compound from the plant?
From the cannabis plant.
Okay.
Now Toby will talk to you in a second about the cannabis plant, because you say the C word, you say cannabis, and people freak out.
Oh, well, totally. It's
understandably. The important thing to note is that the cannabis plant and the hemp plant specifically, where we get CBD from, there are two main compounds associated with the cannabis plant, and that is CBD and THC. They are the two most prevalent compounds.
What's the difference between the two?
Okay, so THC is the high.
Okay, because that's what I think people would associate that with.
Yeah, and this is really important because THC has to be removed. It cannot be legally sold.
Is that the hallucinogenic one?
That's the psychoactive.
Okay.
That's the psychoactive compound. So you have, and it sits alongside CBD as the most prevalent compound. But of course, it's the illegal part.
Got it.
And
so this is legal.
CBD is absolutely legal, and is now legal in all 50 states in America, which is huge. It took them a long time to get to that point. It's legal in most countries around the world, not everywhere, but we're getting there. And it is, one of over 100 different compounds found in the cannabis plant. So put simply, that's what it is. And it's actually, CBD stands for cannabidiol.
Okay.
But it is just, as basically as I can put it, it's just a compound from the plant.
Just to clarify, it's legal in the UK. I know you've mentioned the US there, but it's completely legal in the UK. Because I've noticed a lot of, big retailers, commercial retailers now stocking, CBD on the high street.
And this is where we're trying to take the stigma out of things, Poppy. We have a slide in which we can show you in a second, in which actually talks about the cannabis plant. You have to understand the cannabis plant, and cannabis, when we reference that, that's kind of the umbrella. And within cannabis, you have two strains. You have what we call hemp and what we have called marijuana.
There we go, on screen now.
There you go, as you can see on screen right now. And on the right there, you can see that marijuana. Now, marijuana is what we know to be, that's what has got the stigma behind it. That's the thing that gets you high.
Drug.
That's the recreational drug that gets you high. And the reason behind that is that farmers have always grown it to increase the amount of THC that's within it, increase the amount of potency. It's been genetically modified throughout the years. We are nowhere near that, okay? We are on the other side of that image we were just showing you, which is from the hemp plant. Now, the hemp plant has, again, always been grown to have the highest amount of CBD, but the lowest amount of THC.
Okay.
And that is why when we extract it, we can sell it legally, because it has less than 0.03 milligrams of THC in it. And this is where a lot of our clients ask the question as well, oh, will it make me high? Am I having cannabis here?
Yeah.
There is so little, let me put it this way. As a professional athlete, drugs tests are something they go through very, very often.
Of course.
Lots of professional athletes in the world are using this CBD. Why? Because it won't show up in a drugs test. It's, again, everything that we are providing you is 100% natural and only derived from a 100% natural plant.
So is it classified then as a food supplement? Is that how it's known as?
This is how it is sold. There's a lot of, we are about 5 years behind America, I would say, in terms of research, in terms of acceptance, in terms of where the doctors sit, which we can talk about later. So it is sold generally as a food supplement in the UK, absolutely. And also it's our CBD is in hemp oil, which is amazing in itself. So that is cold press extract from the cannabis plant as well, but just the seeds. So you've got all those benefits as well.
Yeah.
Go on, what you can
No, I was going to say, so just to clarify for anybody watching, it's cold pressed, benefits of cold pressed. What is cold pressed? I know we've touched upon extraction, but just very simply, why is cold pressed best?
It's just simply the best extraction method. Again, totally natural, as you explained earlier.
No,
Exactly.
nothing else in it.
Nothing else in it. And that's also a very good point we touch on there. And that also has something to do with our quality, Poppy, is a lot of CBD companies out there we have found will take a carrier oil like hemp oil, and they will maybe opt for a slightly cheaper version of a hemp oil or have some additives to it to enable its sell-by date to last slightly longer. But again, one of the great things about us taking this from Colorado is we actually extract the same hemp in which we get our CBD from, we can take our carrier oil from as well.
This is key, by the way. This is absolutely key. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
But there's a lot of CBD out there. There really is.
I feel the passion, by the way.
We've been through it, trust me.
Exactly. And it is passion because we didn't wake up one day and decide, okay, shall we start a CBD company? Absolutely not. We were searching for the best CBD we could for our health. And actually, then when we realised, okay, we've got to go to America to get what we need. There's a gap in the market here, huge, and this is our family can benefit, our friends can benefit.
Okay.
And it's very important to note that yes, our CBD quality is amazing, but also everything else that you're taking within this bottle, within our bottles, is absolutely 100% natural as well. And that is what you can't guarantee from everywhere else. Pro-Life is 100% natural in every way.
The Primal Cure way. That absolutely. And this is why, when we looked into this, it just seemed natural to have a conversation about it. There's lots of information out there. We've had dozens and dozens of companies, different people approaching us saying, wanting to bring us, their CBD oil. And we really looked into this. Steve, founder and also, father of 7 who created Primal Cure, looked into this and we saw a huge difference actually in terms of the concentrations, the quality, the product that you offer when you put it against others on the market. I mean, there's some really, really big, well-known retailers selling this.
Sure. Absolutely.
But in fact, sorry,
No, but what I was going to say, and this is the same problem we had, is it's confusing though, because you'll see one maybe bottle a similar size to another bottle of a certain brand, which will be half the price of the other, and you're sitting saying, well, what's the difference here, without understanding this? And this is what we were discussing slightly earlier on, saying, well, actually, with where we source our from, whether it's the hemp, whether it's the extraction method, whether it's the soil it's in, whether it's the fertilizers you use, you can cut corners very, very easily and reduce the cost per bottle as a business. And a lot of people out there as business people are thinking, yes, we can do that. And of course, the consumer will see it. It will be half or slightly more affordable than the other pieces, and therefore it gets purchased. Whereas we weren't happy to move at all on any quality. And that's why we're sitting here with it today, and that's why we go through the 100% natural process.
Well, and with that, so I've got here, so you've got 3 different bottles that you've come with today. I've got an 8% in my hand here,
Yes.
A 20% following that in the same size bottle, so
Yes.
the smaller sizes, and a very large one here that is at 10%, but we're talking at 100 millilitres on that one,
Yeah,
in that bottle. Now,
that's correct.
I want to talk about the 8% one first.
Yeah.
So you've touched upon concentrations there. I found, having just done a little bit of my own research, that actually this is your lowest concentration, is
Absolutely,
it?
yeah.
Many other companies are selling this as their highest.
Isn't that incredible? So it's, I mean, there's a lot to be looked at here. So a lot of companies, yes, big names like you mentioned. You can go into big retail stores now and find CBD.
Yeah.
There's 2.5%, there's 5%. We've done, again, months worth of research, years now worth of research in terms of what's best. And remember, this is for our health primarily first, so that's where you can trust in what we are doing here, because this is about how do we beat cancer and how do we beat epilepsy. And we have found from research and from our clients that less than 8%, in their opinion, in our opinion, is not worth
That's
it.
the trick.
Yes, you can get 5% or a lower percentage and you can pay less. However, people find they end up taking more, and ultimately you spend more. So the reason why we've got 8% as our minimum is because we think that is your perfect entry level.
Yes.
Because this is where you start to see benefits. I mean, we've spoken before about your nan.
Absolutely.
We've got many people in our lives who don't necessarily have a severe ailment that they're dealing with, but anxiety or sleep. That seems to be the perfect level to enter
But
in.
on the same level, what we were finding as well, and this was when we first started with Pro-Life CBD, we were having a lot of clients that came to us and said, it's not working. Like, oh, I've tried CBD before, it's not working. And then looking back and actually asking them, it's because they were using a 2.5% and using 3 or 4 drops, or 5% and using 1 or 2 drops. And the simple science behind it is they're just not providing their body with enough CBD or enough resources from it for their body to react to it. And therefore they were thinking, well, it doesn't work. And then as soon as provided them with an 8% bottle or whatever they required, they then immediately could see a change.
Okay, so we've touched upon just a few ailments there, conditions that I know a number of people will be able to relate to, whether it's themselves or people that they love, people that around them have this. I mean, I know so many people are getting touched by so many different conditions now because, again, as we say, the stats are going up on whatever it may be, cancer included. But can you talk us through some of the other conditions it can work for, or you've seen it benefit, and how do I use it? So if I have no idea how to use it, how do I use this?
Okay, so conditions. How long we got?
I think we might have a slide with some on actually that Elliot might be able to resort to, but
It's easier to talk about what it doesn't help with or what people haven't reported it to help with than not. So skin conditions, anxiety is huge.
Can I ask, sorry, just quickly, when you mentioned skin conditions, is it for topical use as well, or
very good question. So you can use this as you can use it topically if you want to. What we have found though, a friend of ours actually with really bad acne, she tried first topically and then tried the oil, and I'll talk to you about how to take the oil in a second, and found that actually working from the inside out was better. Because what you're trying to do, the whole point of CBD is that you are addressing an imbalance in your body. Okay. So when this directly goes into your bloodstream, directly works to balance your body, it starts to repair. Your body starts to repair what's wrong. So yes, you can use it topically. There'll be many different opinions on the best way to use CBD, but in our experience, from our clients' experience, taking it as an oil, like we're offering here, is the best way to do it.
There we go. I think we've got something on screen there that talks through a number of different elements. I mean, look, I mean, just see how many different conditions are pointing to the body there. This is...
It's amazing, really, how many different ailments it can help with. The list really does go on. I mean, my clientele will start from someone having anxiety, through to acne, all the way through to multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's. It really can help with osteoarthritis. There are so many different ways in which this can help with the human body. And I think the easiest way of explaining this is basically, Poppy, is that within our system, just like we have a nervous system or a digestive system, we have a system called the endocannabinoid system.
Now,
The what, sorry?
Endocannabinoid system.
Endocannabinoid system.
Correct.
There we go.
It's amazing.
Try this at home.
Which, again, if you go, which as you can see on screen right now, Poppy, is a system that runs through kind of the vital organs of our body. And as you can see on screen, most of the receptors kind of start in the brain and work our way down kind of the spine all the way to the digestive system. Now, I'm going to leave this to my sister to explain because she absolutely adores talking about the endocannabinoid system.
I love the endocannabinoid system. So it's incredible. This is where it's exciting. I'm so excited. There's so much to talk about. It's unbelievable. So they only discovered this amazing system in the 90s. I mean, how that's happened, I don't know. But they were testing the effect of cannabis on the body because it's reported medical benefits. I mean, all the way back to 200 BC, they were reporting medical benefits. Whether like great for fibre, pain relief, digestion, even when they didn't even know what the benefits were, but they've reported benefits for that long. And so they only discovered this system. It's a network of receptors, the endocannabinoid system. And it basically works to keep us in balance. So you'll see the word homeostasis.
That's it, something we've mentioned here before. Yeah, your body's always trying to get back to that middle central point. We do certain things, toxic things that can send us off kilter. You know,
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you guys know all about that already, which is great.
Perfect.
A lot of people don't know. It's amazing how many people don't know about that. And the entire point of CBD is to replace what your body is not producing itself. So you will hear about if you hear endocannabinoid, that's the system. Endocannabinoid system. Cannabinoids are naturally produced within our body. And that achieves balance when we are working at absolute full strength, when we're working at our best.
Which is what we want.
Well, it's ideal, isn't it? I mean, to never be ill would be great. Unfortunately, due to, like we mentioned earlier, stress, lack of exercise, our diet, mainly our diet.
Pollution,
anything, all these external factors that send us off balance. Unfortunately, our bodies can't always keep up and it can't always produce the amount of cannabinoids that we need. In comes CBD.
Wow.
Because we can get, and this blows my mind. Yes. Our body produces cannabinoids and the cannabis plant, or the hemp plant specifically that we're talking about today, produces cannabinoids.
Yes.
You can naturally put that into your body and get no side effects. I mean, unbelievable. But I just thought, when we were learning, what are the side effects? There's got to be something. But actually, we have had 0 side effects reported from our clients, which is amazing. And basically, what you're putting CBD oil in your body, and it starts to. Well, Toby is actually better on this because you understand. You explain this so much better than me.
That's the fun part.
How does it work with our bodies? Once you've put that CBD in your body, how does it work?
Well, the easiest way to explain it is actually, let's start with, for example, something like Tourette's. Okay, somebody that has Tourette's obviously loses control of some of their body at one point, and that's why they can shout or have movements. And that is because the receptors that control those are not balanced, Poppy. That means that they're overactive, and therefore when that overactivation happens, they then have a spurt out of something like that. In the same way that people with epilepsy or the same people with Parkinson's have the same problems, where they again don't have full control of their receptors and therefore have certain side effects from it. So what CBD does when we take that, it is actually taken and actually mildly binds to our endocannabinoid system. It binds to those receptors and actually stimulates or blocks them depending on what's going on. So someone with Tourette's, whereas they might have that overactivity and therefore might say something or do something, when taking CBD, their receptor has already been balanced or stimulated. So that overactivity can't happen. So it will block the overactivity in the sense of a certain receptor that has overactivity, or in the other way, in something like depression, where the receptor maybe isn't doing enough or isn't having enough activity, it will actually then balance it so it has enough activity, so people will again feel more calm and less depressed.
And there's more and more research on this. So just to clarify, in terms of claims, in terms of information out there, are there any claims actually that documented that you can legally say? My question really, there's a lot of controversy around it. How do you go about that? Are there any actual claims that can be made, or is this based on research and testimonials and information right now?
It's very important to address this because I have to say that every single person that takes CBD, you taking it versus me versus Toby, everybody reacts differently. So we can't sit here and say it's cured my epilepsy. Yes, Pro-Life CBD has changed my life. I've gone from the highest dose of medication for epilepsy to the absolute lowest, and I can only put that down to CBD. However, I can't tell you that absolutely this will happen to you the same way it's happened to me. However, the amount of research is unbelievable. So this is why we say, ask me about any ailment and I'll tell you, here's a bit of research that's been done to say X, Y, and Z. The research is incredible. Like I mentioned earlier, America are about 5 years ahead. Doctors over there are just going crazy for it now in a positive way. It used to be, well, it is a stigma. It's still a stigma.
Sure.
Cannabis is itself. People are learning. There's a big learning curve going on.
Of course.
They are ahead over in America, and we follow their lead. But I think doctors would admit here that they haven't quite got enough education yet. It's happening.
Interesting.
We're getting there. It's legal. It can be prescribed by doctors. But there is an element of a learning curve.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you for covering that, because I just think, if you're watching, you're probably thinking, well, what are the claims out there? Why is there controversy? And I actually think you've just covered that for us. There's more and more information is coming out, more and more research, and which is why I think it's been so widely spoken about.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get onto it. I know you will as well. I really want to get onto how do I use this? How do I use this? So this is your 8% bottle that I've got in my hand here.
Yes.
So 8%. What do I do with it? What do I do? How many drops do I take as well?
It's a minefield, it really is. But to be honest, this is a learning curve. You're going to.
Should I demonstrate as you talk?
Okay.
Yep.
It is. Because you can't speak afterwards. It is a learning curve to a degree. So there are guidelines on each bottle about how much to take. It's 6 to 12 drops, 2 to 3 times a day. Some people want to just take a couple of drops to start, which is why the 8% is our kind of entry level as well, because at that point, at the 8%, you can really gauge your response.
Do you mind if I do this actually, just because this is something that I'd like to try this.
Of course.
Yeah.
What you do is take, if you say start with 5 or 6 drops. Now you can look in a mirror and watch the drops physically go in if you want. We haven't got a mirror.
Because a spoon might be a good idea.
That's another way. If you drop them physically onto a spoon, then you want to just, if it's on a spoon, just drop that under your tongue. And it will absorb through your gums if you imagine it happening.
So drop it under my tongue. Can I do it? So
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put it under your tongue,
Can you
pops,
see that?
and then squeeze it out.
In fact, we're gonna try it with a spoon in a second as well.
Here we are.
Thank you. And as if like magic, the magic of TV. Thank you very much.
So I think
Self-founder there.
might be an easy way to start with a spoon, but over time you just know. So for example, Poppy, I'll use an example here. I won't take it. I'll leave the taking to you. For example, we know that of a morning that's maybe a bit too much to take. So of a morning I probably take, say something like this, and I just know that it's around maybe 1.5 centimeters up. So then in the morning I will put that into my mouth, and over time, just like with anything, you adjust to it.
Can you build it up?
That's what most people do. So most people would start with maybe just taking 5 drops in the morning, say, and then they would see how they feel over a few days. If it depends what you're taking it for. So if it's just for a bit of anxiety, people might find that's enough. They might want to increase it and take it twice in the day. That's what I do. I take it twice daily. We both do actually. Some people spread it across the day. If for example, people get anxiety is a good one to use because it's good to take regularly to combat anxiety, to help with anxiety. But some people might find, right, I'm going into this meeting and I know I'm going to be anxious. And so they'll take it just before.
How quickly does it work then with what you've just said there?
Okay, so this is where it's absolutely incredible.
Can I take this whilst also as well? So
answer your question, Pops.
Okay,
So you put it on the spoon.
I put it on the spoon there and under my tongue.
Under your tongue.
Hold it there.
Hold it there as
and then
long
will you
as you
carry on
can.
telling me about this? I won't be able to
speak.
talk, which I'm sure you're all really grateful for.
And give the spoon a lick on the way out too.
Okay.
Okay, so Poppy's there taking it, and it just sits under your tongue for as long as you can. We say 90 seconds, but I think, we've got family that drive to work and just don't all the way to work.
We're starting a new record actually to see who can go the
Yeah,
longest
who can
without
just keep
swallowing
it there the longest, careful. And so the most incredible thing, and actually the reason why CBD became quite famous in terms of, right, hold on, we've got to investigate the health benefits here. There was a girl called Charlotte Figge in America, and she was having 300 seizures a day. No, a week. A week. And
sorry, I have to stop. I have to. A week.
300 seizures a week. She was only about 8, and they put her on CBD. She never had a fit again.
So you see that. So again, there's no specific claims that can be made, but there's lots of testimonials, lots of anecdotal.
Please read about her because she's incredible. Again, that's not the way it worked for me and my epilepsy. It was slightly different. However, your question was how quickly does it work? It depends on what the issue is. So it can stop. Toby, you've got to tell your story about our friend with Parkinson's in a second, but do
absorption rates vary then?
Again, it's how you take it. This is the best way of taking it because it's immediately into your bloodstream. There are other ways of taking CBD, capsules for example. However, you lose about 80% of the absorption in your stomach if you've got anything else, food in there. So you can't absorb it as well. But in terms of how quickly it works, in many cases immediately.
Yeah, in many cases immediately, and I'll just explain that story that Cho was talking about.
Please.
We have a close family friend who also suffers with Parkinson's very, very badly, and if we were sitting here on the sofa right now, he wouldn't be able to talk. Severe, he wouldn't be able to keep himself still on the sofa, and it's just a horrible thing to see. But it's amazing when you give someone like that CBD, and within anywhere between 4 to 6 minutes, we are talking as normal, as completely, and I use the word normal kind of in the wrong way there, but you know what I mean? You would never know in that point that he is suffering with the disease in which he's suffering. And that shows us everything we need to know within minutes. We're not talking have it and 3 hours later, he's feeling a bit better. You can see exactly, and also the whole time it's processing through his body. So after a certain amount of time, you'll see again that his bodies have utilized all of the CBD, and then he'll start to shake again or struggle with his movement or his vision. And he just takes some more. And that's the best thing about CBD, Pops, is that you can't take too much of it. You can't overdose. You can't. There's no limit as to how much you can actually take.
Yeah, I think that's important to say. We give dosage guidelines, but they're important to have, especially for anybody who's new to CBD. But I mean, let's say for example, me, I take 50 milligrams a day. There's 800 milligrams in the 8% bottle. I take 50 milligrams a day. I have a friend who has motor neurons. Absolutely terrible. There's nothing we can do to reverse that or stop that. And he's taking 600 milligrams a day. That's nearly a bottle a day.
And seeing
it's helping. It can't fix him. It's really sad, but they just gives you an example of how much people do take. We're not sitting here as doctors, we're not sitting here as scientists, we're not making claims. All we can do is tell you what our clients tell us.
We've heard.
Yeah.
Well, I was sorry, I was just going to say, you know, I've seen a number of testimonials myself out there, including from celebrities as well. You know, there's a number of celebrities. I think we've got some to show you here. I mean, can you talk us through some of these? I think we've got Parkinson's included on there as well as one of the...
Yes, so Michael J. Fox, as you all know, I mean, he's been a big Parkinson's sufferer for a long time now, maybe about 10 years now, maybe.
Longer,
and he maybe longer, I'm showing my age a bit maybe, but he's been using that again for the help of his Parkinson's, for exactly that, because it allows him to come to allows him again to become more of how he used to be before he was diagnosed as sick. Morgan Freeman is the same. He's a big user of it for, I have to say the word for me,
Fibromyalgia,
exactly.
So we've got a family member that suffers from,
another big thing that we hear, I wasn't really aware of fibromyalgia really until CBD, and then the amount of people that come to us with fibromyalgia is amazing. But yeah, lots of celebrities. We've also got, rugby players.
Professional athletes,
fighters.
At the moment, MMA fighters, that's a big thing at the moment. And that's also a very interesting point because, for example, a rugby player or a fighter, they've got nothing wrong with them, they're pretty fit. I mean, they're in their peak physical performance of their life. But they're using it for recovery because once you are in a rugby match or fighting or even in the gym, obviously you're tearing muscles to create more muscle or getting bashed or getting swelling, whatever you may be doing. CBD will help with all of those elements. So from a recovery perspective, by adding more CBD after you've done whatever you're going to do, just like people do with protein, I guess, CBD can do exactly the same. So sportsmen and professional athletes now are also jumping right on this bandwagon.
So we've talked about sportsmen, we've talked about athletes, we've talked about celebrities.
Yep.
Something I haven't asked, and I'm sure many people would like to know, children, younger age, what age are you allowed to use this for? How old do you have to be?
Okay, so most of the research that I read when I first started looking at CBD for Toby was in children, funnily enough.
Yes. Oh, really?
Yeah, and Charlotte Figge, who with the 300 seizures a week, she was 8 or 9 when they first started putting on CBD. Most people would tell you that it's absolutely fine to take CBD at any age. There are babies that have CBD because, of course, if there's any kind of illness, people will do anything to try and help their babies. As with anything, I would always say, if you're on medication for your babies, for your children, just ask your doctors for some advice.
The best thing to do.
Just because there's a lot of research happening. Most people like me will take CBD to try and reduce some of the medication that they're on. They're taking it as an alternative. It's natural. This is the way the world is going. We're all about health now. Without your health, you are nothing.
That's it.
So it's all about health and natural alternatives. And so it's a balance, but I can't tell one person with epilepsy compared to me how it will affect them. So always ask your doctor, but I would say that if you look into this, a lot of the research is around children.
Yeah, there's no real age. And also, probably, it's not necessary, you don't have to have something wrong with you to take CBD.
This is what I'm wondering, do I need like a certain ailment, or can I use this for everyday use? What can it help with day to day?
Let me just talk to you quickly, just to finalise on the children's side of things, because we also have friends. I mean, right now, everyone at home might know their children might be going through or just had the mock exams for GCSE.
Pretty stressful time.
Yes, we've got friends that take CBD for exam stress. He's giving it to his daughter because she's anxious about exam stress. She's not sleeping so well, so he's giving it to her. I also have a friend that has a 7-year-old boy with ADHD. He's a little bit, give him some sugar and he's like a firework going around the kitchen, and he gives it him just of an evening so he can get to sleep. I also have a friend that has nothing wrong with his child. He's just got lots of energy, but he just gives it him just to calm him down a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's that's fantastic. It's great, and that really says everything to me.
I think as well, in people who are really doing their research into CBD, they see this as a preventative very much. So you just asked about the day-to-day. There doesn't have to be anything wrong at all. But a lot of people who are educating themselves on CBD are realising, actually, why would I wait for my body to be out of balance, my endocannabinoid system to fail me almost before I start taking it? If I take it regularly, daily, then I'm, fingers crossed, preventing anything from falling out of balance.
Of course, and I just want to say a message from us here at Primal as well, from Primal Cure. If you are on any medication at the moment, or you are under the age of 18, please do consult with your GP, with your own medical professional, and your parents, of course, as well, if you are under 18, if you are looking to take this, just to clarify, and quite rightly so, you've said it yourself, you've got to speak with your GP if you're considering taking this alongside any current medication or care that you're on.
I'd always recommend it. Look at our website, and again, we have lots of information on our website you can refer to. You can ask us questions, but as always, please refer to your GP. But to get back to your question, Poppy, about do you need to have an ailment or not? I think I'm a prime example of that. So I was originally taking it for when I had cancer last year. I got through.
So recently as well.
Yes, as I mean, within the last 6 months, I was only given the all clear maybe 3 months ago.
It's great news, Toby.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I feel so much better, going through. But you know what? It's very interesting because I obviously went through the likes of chemotherapy and all of those horrible things. And without CBD, I would have really, really struggled going throrough that. And I would like to just give you an example of that.
It's quite a funny story, actually, because when you were poorly, really poorly, you just didn't want to talk to me, let alone I was trying to force CBD down it. Come on, this is why we've got it.
Yeah.
As a caring sibling.
Well, yeah, but in the hospital, when you're going through something like chemotherapy, the hospital provides you with a lot of different tablets, a lot of different pills, anti-sickness tablets, because you've got, poison in your blood. That's what's in your blood, and it's just killing everything around to try.
Good and the bad.
The good and the bad to try and help the problem.
Suffered, didn't you?
Yeah, and I really, really suffered. So I was sick for a very long time after each of my chemotherapy sessions. But actually, it took 2 on the second chemotherapy session after having maybe 20 anti-sickness pills and them not helping me at all because I was throwing, without going into too much detail. We thought, hang on, we can go with CBD here. And after using CBD a little bit earlier, like we discussed earlier on, I wasn't sick again through any of my chemotherapy sessions.
That was unbelievable.
That is
and we can put the science down to it, because thinking about it, when I was taking it in tablet form, my body wasn't having long enough to process it from my stomach because everything from my stomach was coming away. But under the tongue, it's immediate. It's straight into your bloodstream. So those anti-nausea effects in which it could have helped me. But hang on, but even better. So now I'm through chemotherapy. So why should I keep taking CBD, right? Well, one of the great things I had as well is I'm not a very good sleeper. I've got a bit of a crazy mind, and also I've got a very bad digestive system. I've had.
Well, many of us can relate to that. Overthinking, nighttime, you're lying there, you're looking at the ceiling, and everything seems to pop into your head at that moment in time. Yeah.
And also I suffered with IBS for a long time, and one thing I found was, number one, that I was sleeping. Maybe 10 times better than I was prior. I was getting, instead of maybe 3 hours a night, I was able to go a bit too much sleep actually, and maybe go for 9-10 hours if I wanted to. But most importantly, my digestive system was completely regulated to as it was prior to being diagnosed with IBS. And they were just 2 great side effects that we had from taking CBD. I wasn't planning on it. I never thought it would happen, but it did.
And do you know what, the price that we're looking at as well, I mean, we've really done our research. Even here at Primal, we had a number of different companies approach us saying they wanted to bring CBD here because it does fit in, it does tie in. We're talking about something that is natural. CBD with 8% CBD in hemp oil, all natural, no nasties, no chemicals, which is what we're about here. We're about bringing you what your body naturally needs. Now, we're making no claims here, but what we can say, based on so many testimonials from celebrities and otherwise, there has been so much amazing positive feedback as a result. And if you would like to try this or purchase it on behalf of a loved one, think about now who in your family, who you know out of your friendship group has perhaps suffered with any of the ailments or even just day-to-day problems and issues of which we've spoken about today. Do they struggle to focus? Do they struggle to, to relax? Do they have anxiety, or do they have any of the conditions? Again, making no claims, but if they have any of the conditions that we've touched upon, from Parkinson's and otherwise, if you are thinking about this, then we have done an amazing price for you. We have done our homework and our research to be able to bring this to you. This wasn't something that we just flippantly brought to air, something that we just decided we'd do a show on. We have decided to bring something of amazing quality, something that, that is of 8%. I can tell you now, having done my own homework, that what we have got here, this 8%, this is the lowest percentage of which Pro-Life CBD have. It's their entry level. So if you're considering anyone and you're perhaps a first time trier for you or your family members, then this is the one that, as just a personal suggestion, I would say this is your give it a go one. Yeah. But at 8%, I can tell you, this is Pro-Life's version of their lowest concentration, whereas other big commercial retailers, companies out there, this is their highest percentage. So as your entry level, first time perhaps purchase of CBD oil, this is the one that I would personally suggest, and I can actually be honest with you and tell you, I've purchased this myself for my grandma. So there we go. And she's trying it at the moment, and I can tell you just from a personal recommendation testimonial, she's got cancer herself, and she's saying that the sleep that she's had since taking this is sleep that she hasn't had in a great a long time. Yes. So yeah, we have also got a bigger bottle. So there is also a bigger bottle. If you perhaps already understand, perhaps you already know about CBD, you're well versed in the benefits and that other people have experienced, we have got a larger bottle, a huge bottle in fact, not just large, huge. We're talking about 100 millilitres here, which we will go on to next. Now, actually, Steve, who is our founder of Primal Cure and also father of 7, this is his favourite one. So 100 millilitres and 10% CBD oil. Now, there's actually something else that this is sitting within. Aside from the hemp oil, we've got coconut. Can you please take us on to what we've got here, Cherry and Toby? So, can I just read the front here for everyone at home? So, CBD-rich hemp extract drops with coconut oil. Why coconut oil?
Okay, well, why not coconut oil? I mean, we should bathe in coconut oil. It's so amazing. I actually want to touch on strengths in a second, but the big bottle is not just Steve's favourite. It was the one we take.
All of our
To be
family.
honest,
All
it's
of
the
our
one
family.
everyone takes. The reason why we have the 8% is because it allows people to work out how much they need. If you go straight in at 10%, 20%, 40% even, it's very, you can't tell how much you need. You might need less. The 8% is perfect. You get the benefits and you can gauge from there whether you need more or less. Then everyone jumps to the big bottle. First of all, MCT, which we'll talk about the coconut oil, and secondly, I must stress this is the best price per drop I've seen.
Really?
Anywhere.
So, what we've seen.
Yeah, your value for money, and that is incredible. Totally understand why people want to try with the 8%, work out how
like
much
an
they
entry
need.
level, yeah.
Absolutely. But everyone goes for the 10% in the end. And coconut oil, which I'm sure you've talked about 1,000 times.
Just a little bit. We quite like it here.
Yeah,
so it's,
we know it's well.
something
I mean,
quite
our
enjoy.
mum is also obsessed with it, isn't she?
Oh, she is.
We're big on fasting, and she'll just have literally a spoonful of coconut oil just to
take it every
keep
day.
metabolism
Yeah.
going. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Natural antibacterial and antimicrobial and all these properties. Yeah.
And to get that as well, it's just fantastic. So you've got CBD, which we know is absolutely incredible, proving to have so many benefits. Hemp oil from those seeds from the same plant we're getting the CBD from, absolute top quality, and then top quality coconut oil as well. And it's just additional benefits, and it is faster absorption. So actually it gets into your system even faster.
Interesting.
When it's with coconut oil.
Okay, so can I just touch upon that quickly?
Sure.
So we referenced a few ailments out there whereby you might want something that's fast acting. Would you therefore say that's the one to go for if you want something with it that can act quicker?
I think we'd always say to always try the 8% as your initial, as our entry level, but it certainly does help. That was exactly what I was using while going through chemotherapy, and I can tell you it is fast. It is very, very fast, and the absorption rate is very, very high. So we'd always certainly recommend that, definitely, as we're saying, to move on to.
I tell everyone just to go straight for the 10%, to be honest, just because value for money.
How long would it last though? How long, would it take to go through?
Difficult to answer because, like I said, I take 50 milligrams. I know someone who takes 600 a day,
Yeah.
so it's very difficult. Most people, the 8% would last them possibly 3 weeks. Depends whether you increase your dose quickly or not.
Yes.
The larger bottle, on average, about 6 months. 6 to 8 months, actually,
Yes,
I would say.
and that's where the value for money really
Yeah.
comes into
Okay.
play, because you can obviously compare the prices yourself. But Poppy, if you don't mind, I'd just like to add on one more thing as well to do with our CBD oil. And customers at home might be sitting, or people at home might be saying, well, Toby, I've seen in the shops that some people have a CBD isolate and some people have a full spectrum CBD.
It's very true.
Okay, what does that mean?
This is what I'd like to make clear to our
Okay,
clients at home.
please.
Because from the hemp plants, you can extract a number of different cannabinoids. As Cherry started by saying, there are hundreds of different cannabinoids in the hemp plants. But what's actually been proven is exactly right here. There's where
there's the hemp plants.
That's where we are. It's Colorado. That's where we get. That's our hemp right there. That's
So it's
our-
not any picture.
No, that's ours
our
right
farm
there.
there, right
300, exactly, 1,000 square feet of hemp right there, ladies and gentlemen. But what's important to understand is that actually what they've figured out is you can actually take more than one cannabinoid from the plant, which will help with ailments. Now, we're going to show a slide on screen which will actually show how CBD can help with ailments, but also how other compounds from the hemp plant can also help. So, for example, out there, Poppy, you can have CBC, you can have CBDA. These are other compounds that are extracted from the same plant. So what you are seeing from us here today is actually a full extract of compounds, as you can see on screen right now. Let me just make this clear to you what you are looking at. So as you can see, those big orange circles are CBD. Now, as you can see, CBD will help with pretty much all of the items on that list there. And as you can notice, they all pretty much start with A.
Can you name a couple for us, just a few?
So yes, sure. We can help with anti-insomnia, anti-diabetic. It can be a bone stimulant. It can help with the digestive aid, as I was talking about earlier on, anti-nausea. But you'll also see that next to some of those, there are other dots as well, Poppy. And they are actually talking about the other compounds and how they can help with those ailments as well. So one thing, and again, this is something that confused me and Cherry when we first started, was what's the difference between an isolate and what we call a full spectrum CBD? And an isolate will only have CBD in it. So yes, it will still help with a lot of things, but actually it won't help with necessarily everything. So by having a full spectrum CBD with a full spectrum of compounds, you're actually opening yourself up to be helped helped with more things.
And this is the thing, there's so much to talk about, but this is actually vital.
It is,
because
very.
CBD is amazing, this is what everyone's talking about, it's what we're talking about here and now. But the reason why this bottle is so amazing, the reason why the first bottle we ever bought from America is so amazing is because, yes, it has CBA, CBN, CBC, all these other compounds within it. And if you take those away, CBD, yes, is still amazing, but it doesn't work as well on its own. So please read about this. Full spectrum and the entourage effect.
Yes.
Okay.
The entourage effect is basically, what happens is all of these cannabinoids work together and they boost each other up, if that makes sense. They kind of bounce off each other and make sure that you're getting the best benefits. So another reason why you can see many other CBD products out there, do they have the other cannabinoids? Are they full spectrum?
Yeah.
Because that, if you look at research, they say you need the full spectrum to get the true benefit.
Yes. So just so I get this right, just so I've got a full understanding here, there's 3 bottles that we've got on the table, so just to re-clarify, 8% and 20% in the smaller sizes, and then you've got the large one here with the 10% that's also got the coconut oil. Are they all full spectrum?
Yes.
And are they all natural?
Absolutely.
If we wouldn't be able to sit here today and tell you that we are bringing you the finest quality without them being full spectrum. What we have found, as we showed you a minute ago on screen, is that when they work together, you get a far more dramatic effect, Bobby. It's like, I suppose, if you have one person in a kayak rowing across a lake, if you throw another person, things are going to happen faster or a bit more efficiently.
Good analogy.
Maybe a terrible analogy.
Have you done this?
Yeah, I'm always by myself in the kayak. I don't know what it's like to have 2 people in there. But that's probably...
I don't think I'd want to go in the kayak with you.
But you know what I mean. They work far more efficiently together. So yeah, me and Cherry wouldn't be able to sit here right now and say this is one of the finest products in the UK that you can find of CBD without it being full spectrum.
Brilliant.
This is where our research came in, you see. Yes, you can walk into a very, very well-known store, a few actually, that are selling CBD. CBD is out there, CBD is accepted by some of our amazing retail stores, and that's great for us because it's awareness.
Shines a light.
Definitely.
Everybody is accepting CBD. It's fantastic. We've got doctors. I have to quote this doctor before we end the show because he's just incredible. Opened a lot of people's eyes. But again, in research, you have to consider: are they telling me the percentage? Yes.
Speaking of which, can we go to this one afterwards?
sure.
We've got, because this is the largest, the highest percentage rather.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why we do that, because a lot of people ask us, why do you do different percentages? Why do you not just do that's your CBD oil?
Good point.
And this is important. And again, it'd be very easy for us to say, yeah, everybody just needs the highest percentage. That's what that's not true. It's absolutely not true. Some people, if you're treating anxiety, a little bit of anxiety, 8% is absolutely sufficient. And most people stay, like I said, jump to the 10%.
Yes.
However, we have got friends, family that have stage 4 cancer who really want the strongest potency.
And that's this one that I've got here.
20%. We are actually looking at even going higher for some people who've requested it. But right now we've found that 20% is sufficient for most people. And all it is just the potency that you are getting.
So the size of the bottle is actually the same. So you've got the two 10ml bottles,
yeah, but
one's 8% and one is 20. So just to clarify, we're talking about the highest percentage, smaller bottle, then you've got another one that's 10%, just so we're completely clear.
Of course.
But this one is 20% 10ml bottles. So this is your strongest.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So somebody that wants to perhaps see effects quicker, stronger, is this the one we're looking at?
It's for, I would say the reason why most people stick around the 8 and the 10 are because that's sufficient for them. However, we did see quite quickly people with severe ailments that wanted the stronger potency.
Yes.
This is where it gets confusing again, because I would always say to somebody, if you play around with the 8 and 10%, you start to learn how much you need. Some people do take so much of it that they want the stronger, or so that's why we offer it, because it's out there, and we also want to compete with people who,
of course,
who are selling the higher potencies, and there is a demand. There is a demand. So yes, the 20% has got 2,000 milligrams in, the 8% has got 800 milligrams in. And again, it's just about playing around. Technically, it should last you double the time of the 8%.
This is what I was going to ask then. So in terms of how quickly I'd use this, I'd actually get through this in a shorter period, a longer period of time. Sorry, it would take me longer to use this up because of the percentage.
Depending on what you're taking it for. So in some ways you could say yes, buy the 20% instead of the 8% and just take half the amount.
Yes, definitely.
Then again, someone might say, well, no, I'm taking 200 milligrams a day, in which case it's relative. It's just relative to how much you're taking.
Yeah.
But the prices on all three are incredible, very competitive. It's quality for price. That's what we're all about.
Okay.
We don't want to cut corners. We are not interested in that. We just want the absolute best that we can.
I mean, this goes a lot longer than it looks. I mean, I can actually again talk about this from a personal a family personal testimonial. I know so many people will be watching and thinking about who they could purchase this for. You know, yes, you may be considering this for yourself, but no doubt you'll be sat there going, do you know what, that sounds like someone I know, or I know someone that could benefit from this. I just want to re-clarify, because I know it can perhaps be a little bit confusing with the size of the bottles. You might think that the concentration goes up with the size of the bottle, but this is your highest concentration. It's the small bottle still, highest concentration. The next concentration up then does go to the big bottle. So you're looking at 10%, but it's 100 ml. So 10% CBD in 100 ml with both hemp oil and coconut oil. Is that right?
That's correct.
Fabulous. Just so you can see that there. So hemp oil and coconut oil. Also, let me just show you the pipette quickly as well. So obviously it's got the larger pipette. So you can see, there we go, just so you can see on screen. So pipette is different to drops as well. So drops is just the droplets that come out. Pipette is actually the tube itself.
Exactly.
So if anybody talks about...
or in CBD terms, we call it a tincture. That's what you'll see it referred to as over the industry.
So if you hear that mentioned anywhere or see that,
that's what they're referring to, exactly.
By all means as well, do what we did earlier, which is use a spoon. So I'd probably, for ease, and by the way, so we're now looking at the 8%. So small bottle 8% as well, and then you've got small bottle 20%. But this one's 8%. So if you're not sure of how much you need, whilst you're learning about your own personal tolerances, how much you can take, then if you just pop this onto a spoon, which I'm going to do here for you now, just to give you an idea. So pop it onto a spoon, and you can see it there. Can you see that? Can you see that? There we go. Just do it one more time. Oh, I need to get some more up there. There we go. Hold on. There we go.
Yeah, how many
just
drops
a little
that you
bit.
want.
How many drops you need? There we go. Just to make it easier. It's just more visible for you. It's just more visible.
You'll get to a point where actually you know how much you want in the pipette, and you just take it that way. So
Go on.
Bottoms up. Cheers.
God, just keep it under your tongue as long as possible. It's the only thing I'd say. Temptation is to swallow it, but you need to get it. It needs to absorb through your gums as much as it possibly can.
Can I just say, so obviously, I should have kept that on for longer, but for purposes of letting you know what that tastes like, because that is a big question. I bet people are like, well, what does it taste like?
Good point, actually.
It's earthy. It's actually a really nice taste. It's quite it tastes natural, earthy, slightly floral, very pleasant. I think that is the best way to
And
describe it.
that's a very good point, Poppy, because we were actually looking at, you'll see various CBDs out there with various amounts of flavorings out there. You can get peppermint flavor, mocha flavor, whatever flavor you want in there, which is also a consideration of ours because everybody likes to have a nice taste in them every so often. But it was again something we went against because those flavorings, well, they're not human-made, they're not man-made. They are again synthetically created and added to this.
Which
we don't want additives. We want it to just be absolutely pure. And from start to finish, that's what we have. That's what we've focused on. How do we get the best out of this that we possibly can? And there is a great deal of stigma, and we're working really hard to, along with everyone else, to
stop the stigma.
And there's been incredible. Please have a read of Dr. Sanjay Gupta in America because he is legendary, and he went from not agreeing with CBD to now being the biggest advocate. There is so much changing, and we are very proud of the quality that we are bringing. It's changing lives all the time.
Thank you so much. I wish we could talk even more about this, but I just want to say a big thank you to both Cherry and Toby for joining us, who have been specifically chosen. Congratulations, by the way, on both the improvements in your health and for Pro-Life CBD, which we specifically chose due to the quality, the concentrations, the fact that you are doing something that is all natural. Do your research, have a look elsewhere, because we chose Pro-Life CBD to show you at Primal Cure because it ties in with everything we talk about. Thank you very much. Make sure you go to the website or speak to the customer service team about getting yourself or someone you love CBD oil.